So we've been given the chance to get another Numero Fut. Lucky us. So we have got the other side, which kind of did make a little sense. I don't know if everybody knew about it, but I didn't realise there was going to be a Team 2, but the fact that they've gone for goalkeepers and kind of defenders makes a lot more sense from kind of Team 1. So if you're looking for coins, head to the description of the video, have a look at U7, click go to site, and you'll be transported straight to the coin page for FC25. There is plenty of mounts, and we know full well that U7 are the cheapest, safest, reliablest coins that you can get out there. Once selected your product, click buy, and you'll also be given a newcomer an extra bonus per time. Then obviously head over to the discount, type in JT11 for your discount code, and you'll be able to get that lovely 8% off every single time. And there is also massive creators that are on screen that are also affiliated with U7 Buy. And if that's not enough to convince you, there is lots of different reviews that you can go on Trustpilot and have a look for yourselves. Safe, reliable, and fast. I did assume there was a lot more attacking players. Like, there was a couple of centre-backs in there. Obviously, a lot of strikers. It seemed to have been like centre-mid strikers, and that's it. And then maybe the handful of centre-backs. Whereas this Numero Fut Team 2, full of goalkeepers. Goalkeepers, right mids. Obviously, you've got Cuadrado, you've got Griezmann in there. Bit of Alisson with now a 91. It's an interesting concept with it. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan. There are still some really nice players you could get from it. But I think like any time when we get Team of the Year right around the corner, like we are literally next week away from Team of the Year, at least starting, you're going to kind of go away from any of the promo cards. Now, obviously this week, I think Griezmann's going to be one of the bigger shouts at 2.7 mil. Alisson coming in quite nice as a nice keeper upgrade. And there is a few of them. You've got, obviously, Trapp. You've got Pickford. You've got Enler. You've got Romero. And I think, was there another one? I'm pretty sure, was there another goalie? Balde, Trapp, Enler. I think that might be all the goalies, in fact. Militao at left back as well. We will kind of go into that card in a second. But when it comes to keepers especially, you're predominantly going to just go for the ones that you know. There is still a few that have obviously got some nice upgrades. Pickford's got himself a Playstyle Plus with a long ball pass. Not necessarily the greatest. We have long throw for Romero. Endler, unfortunately, is just a miss anyway. She's what? I'm pretty sure she's like 6 foot bang on. I mean, she's not the smallest keeper in the world. She's 6 foot. I swear she wasn't 6 foot last year. She maybe was. I swear she was smaller, but regardless, it just doesn't work out. Alisson's going to be the kind of prime candidate for this one. So I would say in terms of top meta, Alisson would be my vote in there, obviously. I'd then maybe look at a Pickford. I think for an English goalkeeper, I don't think we've got many at this point still that are of that sort of caliber. Let's have a look. I don't think we do anyway. No, it is just him. Then you've obviously got Earpsh, and then you've got Pickford himself. I was going to say, goalkeeper-wise, we haven't really had that many of an upgrade, to be honest. Romero, you'd probably say is quite usable at a 90, and same with Trapp. Like, keepers, it depends on what you prefer. Having more options for your specific nation, your specific league. I know they are in the main leagues anyway, but it is still nice to have another option. Now, obviously, Romero, is it Ramiro, I want to say? You'd obviously always go Courtois anyway, especially if you're looking in La Liga. And if you look in Spain, you'd probably still just look for a Casillas, if we're really being real there. Griezmann, I think, is the easiest shout out of this. Griezmann's Griezmann. He's incredible. I love his finesse, even if it is kind of taken a little bit of a downgrade with the new patch. He's still going to be fantastic. He's gone from his 89, even in the total rush, adding a nice little bit of pace. Shooting-wise has gone up a little bit. Passing, dribbling was already at a pretty high level. The only thing he was missing was a second Playstyle Plus, and as we know from the first week of Numero Fut, they wasn't really getting it. Militao is the interesting one because unfortunately he is out for, I think, the rest of the season. Let me know down below. I know he's out for a considerable amount of time and he only really got time to get his first in form, which is a shame for him, but he's had a massive upgrade here. Can still play in the centre-back, so obviously that is where you're going to play him 99% of the time. If you do manage to pick this card up, he's going to be a decent one. I think when we look at him in terms of the upgrade in general, massive upgrade on the agility balance, great pace, obviously from the base anyway, physicality and defending was already there, got himself the Jockey Plus. I mean, that is a phenomenal centre-back. you're looking at him more as a centre-back than a fullback in my eyes, but you could potentially go with that. You've obviously got the main kind of role plus as well, coming in for the fullback and fullback, and then he's got a plus on the ball playing defender, which then kind of leads us. I'd go Endler being 6 foot is better than nothing. Personally, for me, I would probably still go with the miss. It's just not the height in my eyes for a goalkeeper. I like personally 6'4" to 6'6". If you can get around there, 6'3" is acceptable, but then you're kind of just going for your preferred keeper in my eyes. And that's just me with a goalkeeper. I tend to just stick with Courtois until we get the Team of the Year goalkeeper. It's kind of normally how it is. We did get Baude as well as the new one, coming in as the left back. This would be the left back I would choose. Obviously, the first upgrade he's had from 81 to 90. Huge upgrade across the board. Absolutely massive. 13 defending, 18 on the physical. It's a lovely upgrade. Pace has gone up 5 as well, which I really didn't expect him to get so much of an upgrade there. It's just a fantastic card in general. It's coming in at 1.2, which is pretty obvious. Anticipate, he's got himself the 4-star, wing-back, full-back, got both options, which is perfect for a lot of people. I personally like the full-back role, and most definitely he could play the wing-back role as well very, very easily. I think in terms of left-back, he would put himself in that top shout already. Which kind of leads us to a few of the kind of lower ones. Naturally, we've got last week's, which I think were quite easy to kind of render. I think we're looking at a few of the new mini releases as well. And since when did they start adding multiple mini releases? Like we got mini release 1 and 2, I'm pretty sure. I don't know where all of these came from. We got Camavinga, that was a great upgrade to him. Still not necessarily crazy for the price. He's a fantastic card, but price-wise in comparison to some of the Evos, I know which one I would choose personally, and that just goes down to a monetary value rather than necessarily the player itself. The Intercept is fantastic. It's a very, very good card. We then have the likes of James, who's pretty decent. Dunk was a solid centre-back for the price that you're paying. Mapillon, I'd do the exact same for. Vlahovic, I'd say, is very usable. Definitely less. I think anybody with the finesse, if you've tried the game since the patch on Wednesday or Tuesday, the finesses are considerably worse. I'm not saying that they can't be scored, because most definitely Bale is still absolutely pinging it without the finesse shot plus outside the box, but it's definitely not as consistent as a broken mechanic. So they've done pretty well with that. I think everything now is kind of out of their realm. It's kind of a lot of just get into the box and bring it round the keeper, get a shot off from kind of a distance where you know you're going to score, which is kind of where football's gone now. We don't really see too many outside the box shots, but it's still possible. So it is still definitely worth having a look at. You've got a few more obviously coming in. Bright was semi-decent at this point. We look at like the likes of Fishlock. I thought with the Incisive was fantastic. Madison definitely having less of an ability now. Incisive never looked better for him, to be honest. But I still think he's quite usable, and you can kind of see the price difference if you go back to the previous video. We've now got everybody at a much more simpler price. Pretty much most people are on their bog standard hype now. You've obviously got De Jong coming in. Literally the bench is full of 10Ks. You've obviously got the week 2 mini release coming in with Camavinga now at 890. But when we look at the likes of Madison, wherever he's gone, where is Madison? There he is. He's coming in at 18K. It kind of is what it is at this point. The double playstyle plus would affect a lot of these cards now. I think when we look at quite a few of them, they are predominantly going to be useful to some aspects, but a lot of them would be good with the double playstyle plus, and Evo would be very helpful for them. Now, I can't put all of them in Evo because realistically they can still play. It's just taking them to that next level. So when we look at a lot of them, pretty much most are into that 88 really. You kind of look at a few of these lower ones. In terms of a centre-back, even if you evoed them, they're not going to be used realistically. They're just not. They are bog standard, nothing too crazy. When you look at the likes of, for instance, this Douglas, if you look at him with the Evo, I know we can go into the mentality monster, probably not the greatest one to go into. For the stat upgrade, I just think it's very much better for a player that hasn't got the composure. Like, if we was looking at somebody with 60, 62 composure, or in the 70s, that could be worth putting it in, because the jump in 20 to the 82 is very needed. It puts them at least on a level playing field, but going a double upgrade from like an 87 to an 89 is going to hinder them in the future, in my opinion. Douglas comes in with a pretty solid base, great physicality, great defending. Dribbling wise looks decent, passing is okay, it's mainly the cross and free kick accuracy dropping the overall rating, which is fine because realistically I don't need it. So I could say yes, an Evo for an 86, probably not a bad shout. When you look at a few of the centre mids, we look at Zero, when we can kind of see the base version of the card looking quite good, that's when then you kind of look and think, well, if I put them in an Evo, do they have a shot? We've got the 4-4, we've got a pinged pass, composure's great, defending, physical, decent level, could do with a bit more shooting if we're looking more box to box. Passing looks fantastic. An Evo to round over the stats would be very nice. And the fact that they are 86 would put them in more of a category than an 88, an 89. They're not going to be Evo'd anytime soon. And by the time we get to that point, that's when they're just non-existent. Like Gilmore, for instance. If we could say, in terms of a CDM, not a bad card. Is he going to be your next level defender? No. Passing, fantastic. Physicality, could do with some work. Defending, not terrible. Great dribbling on him. Decent pace. Shooting, obviously more hindered towards a DM. Long ball pass on him. It's a solid card. He isn't going to take over too much. At 16k, with the ability, his Evo will come in far too late. Like, you think they're going to do an Evo for a 90? They might do one. And that's going to be then picked between the choices of so many CDMs. He's not the only one. We saw with the Mentality Monster how many 87s there is. Now, just double that for the 88s and 89s by the time we get there as well. We have the centre-back, very useful. Goncalo Ramos, chip shot. He's all right in that role. The 5-star, 4-star really helps him out in that point. But other than that, it's going to be a very, very standard card. Like, you could put him in. It's got great shooting on him. It's obviously the penalties dropping him. That's fine. I have penalty takers. Great stamina, great head and accuracy. Dribbling-wise, fantastic. He's going to be that cheap beast that you could use. But realistically, the chip shot is going to be far away. Stones, unbelievable. What a... I had a look at him yesterday. I completely didn't even see that he was out. But what an SBC this card is. At 170, with the ability that he's got, I think it was this version. You whack a shadow or an anchor on him. Honestly, this card is unbelievable. 95 on the defending, 90 pace, 88 on the physicality. Dribbling looks sensational. 97 on the reaction, 92 ball control, 98 composure. With the passing stats as well. An overall of a 94 centre-back for 170. Now, I'm not saying that everybody doesn't have centre-backs already, but what an upgrade you could have if you don't have that. If you're not fancying Konate, maybe you want to change your Virgil out. That is a great SBC, an absolute must in it. We got Guendouzi, I thought was actually a pretty decent SBC as well. We then have a few of the objectives in here. Pedro Neto was unbelievable. Could do really, really well. Like, he's okay right now. He's in a very usable state. If he was to get an attack and avalanche, that would work for him. I don't think he will. But if he could get an upgrade just to take him that one level up, he'd be one of the better wingers you could get in this game, without a shadow. We got Weir, kind of standard. We did have the Wolves left back, wherever he is. Did I even put him in? I can't remember his name, to be honest. Is it A-N-T? No, or is it N-I-T? I can't remember. I know it's a double barrel name, but I can't remember it. Is it Nuari? There he is. So if we add him in here, I'm pretty sure I haven't got him in. A great upgrade as well for your objective if you did pick him. Was quite a nice standard one and have the look of it. Wolves just scored. 11 minutes in, Bristol, nice. A very usable left back. I thought fantastic option. You had the fullback or the wing back. I obviously went for the fullback. Has the potential for upgrades relatively soon as well. Another solid left back that you can get in my eyes anyway. Had the stats, had the ability, and he was free, which is always lovely. We have got Timber at a usable state. Wissa, I would say the same as well. The long ball pass does take away from that wing ability, but you could still utilise him in a few roles, which is always nice. Hato was an interesting shout, to be honest. He was one that kind of came in, and I was kind of like a quick step for a centre-back. Now, obviously, you could go easily on the left-back role. He's come up from a silver. He already had an 83 in form. And in terms of the upgrade, like, it's a nice card. He's going to be based more for a left-back in my eyes. Maybe not necessarily a wing-back with that crossing, but getting up and down the wing with a passing. Centre-back with a quick step playstyle plus isn't necessarily my go-to, so it would force him to a left-back. But I think relatively usable for how much you're paying at 54. It's not a bad price for him. We have David Lopez. He was kind of more at Evo, to be honest. I think, again, going for the long ball plus. I know he's got multiple positions. That's kind of what the positions were all about. You'd probably go more CDM, but even then, I'm kind of looking. He's got the passing. Composure's a little bit on the lower side. Pace is fine for a CDM or centre back, but we have got better. And the defending physical was very nice. It's just the overall package. Is he going to stand up to a Guendouzi? Is he going to stand up to one of the big boys up here, a Camavinga? What is the level difference? And I think it is a bit of golfing class in my opinion. We then have Knobs coming in, Sugita, I want to say I pronounce the name. Stiller was kind of usable, nothing too crazy. And that's what they've kind of got at this point. They've got a lot of okay usable cards, very few miss. I must admit, there's only going to be a few that I would say are just not really worth the time. And to be honest, it's mainly going to be a lot of the 86s now. We've got a team far, far better. And the one that was very interesting to see in the mini release, Goretzka, finally getting his upgrade. Lovely, lovely stats as always. Goretzka was almost that next Hullet gang in the making. 80s across the board. 4-star, 4-star. He's gained that extra skill move, which is nice. He's got himself the power shot, very much like the kind of other German that you could get in Matthias. 500,000. Great ability across the board. Now, and in terms of a centre mid, I'd say he is fantastic. I wouldn't necessarily say top meta, but he's a very, very top end in that usable, that very, very usable card. We then have Naz, we have Cuadrado. Cuadrado's always a funny one because I never know where you want to put him. Like, he's a right back that can play right mid, that can play right wing. It's where do you go with him? Because he's got a bit of defending and physical, a bit of shooting, but great passing and dribbling. So maybe going down the wing might just be the better shout because he will have the also ability to play the wing back plus, the wide playmaker plus. There's so many different options. I think just in terms of versatility for the card, he's going to be great for the bench at the absolute minimum. If you're not running a Serie A team and maybe just need that extra ability to have a player that could come on at right back or could come on at right wing and still get at least a semi-decent job done. Tar will obviously come in to the very usable. We then also have Rude. I thought she was incredible. Very much like Fishslot. They were kind of them incisive pass geniuses that do really, really good work. We then also has Naz, like we said, in terms of the right mid for Tottenham, coming in at 16,000. Technical plus, not my cup of tea, but it works. Decent shooting ability, decent dribbling ability. Composure is the main factor that really lets her down and would put her more into the usable than going into the very usable. I think if she had a better playstyle plus in maybe a quick step, a bit more on that composure, you could see her definitely be putting up a fight in that very usable slot. We then also have Anton, which has got plenty of left backs in the Bundesliga now. There is far too many options that you can go with. He's obviously coming in at the max 190. Anticipate, can play left back, centre back and right back. Plenty of ability across the defensive line. Very, very usable and always nice to have that spread of ability. You could put him in the left back. He would be 6'2" as well as a centre back, which is where I'd probably go for him, to be honest. And clearly the price is agreeing with him as well. We then also have Gabriel, a different one to what you're thinking. He's the Brazilian, winger, right mid. He's coming in with a value of 10,000, but another perfect candidate for another Evo at some point. He's got a great base in the pace, passing-wise decent amount of physicality, mainly the strength coming down. Dribbling-wise, he's got the agility and balance down to a T. He just needs that next step up. The whipped pass is nice. I think an Evo and really, really could put him into that next light. And then pretty much everybody else is going to be pretty standard. Like, you've got some nice ability with them, but they're just not going to be enough, in my opinion, to take them to that next level. You have got the left back with the aerial plus. He's obviously coming in at 6'3", which is nice, and can play the centre back role. He's going to be just your standard centre back more than anything. And at the minute, that's kind of where it stands. I don't think anybody else really would take that kind of limelight away from the top metas. But we are waiting for Team of the Year that I can imagine will just shatter everything. I think we'll do a tier list on just how meta can they truly be. But that's going to be the list for today. Let me know down below what you think. Have you managed to pack any of the big boys in here? And we'll hopefully get a lot of content based around Team of the Year in the coming week. Peace.